Alright guys, Nottingham Forest and Chelsea have just drawn 1-1 at the City Ground, and it's a good result for Nottingham Forest, not so good result for Chelsea. They would want to have gone back-to-back wins since the Premier League returned on Boxing Day. But they made a good start to this game. Chelsea got the opening goal through Raheem Sterling. I wouldn't say they dominated early on though, to be honest. Nottingham Forest still looked threatening on the break, and I'd say throughout the entire game, Forest were the better side, so it's not a good look for Chelsea. And I just think without Reece James in their team, it's that something's missing. Like on the right hand side, he's such a threat. Azpilicueta in his place, he's solid defensively, but he didn't offer much going forward. So I think that's the difference that Reece James makes to this Chelsea team, and yeah, they definitely missed having him in the team today. He's just a bit more of an athlete than Azpilicueta. Gets up and down a lot more, so definitely missed that Chelsea. And yeah, the opening goal, I mean, it was a bizarre one. Ball comes in and Willy Bolly flicks a heel at it. It's going towards the penalty area. I mean, he's got to try and get something on it. I can understand that, but it's just the angle he's bent his foot at is a bit questionable, and he's somehow heel flicked it towards his own goal, hit the crossbar, and it's fallen for Sterling. It wasn't the easiest finish ever for Sterling. You'd expect him to score, but still had a little bit to do. He had to get it right, not mess it up completely. But yeah, he managed to put it in the back of the net. And from then on, Chelsea just didn't overly, get forward enough. There weren't many saves for Dean Henderson to make. Don't get me wrong, there was 2 or 3 throughout the game, but there wasn't loads like you would expect from a team trying to get into the Champions League versus a team trying to stay up. So in that regard, Chelsea will feel very disappointed, and it was only towards the end of the game when they actually threw a few subs on. Like Hakim Ziyech produced a brilliant cross towards the end of the game to try and get Chelsea back in front. Aubameyang actually got a touch on it, but did this thing where he's tried to glance it in the near post when just get a bit of power on it, and it's that close range that Henderson's instantly going to be struggling. So I don't understand that from Aubameyang, but yeah, a few of the subs made a bit of a difference. Conor Gallagher played a few neat passes through to the forward players, which Mount, if we're being honest, failed to do throughout the game. So yeah, it just needs a little bit of a change for Chelsea. It's just different players play at different levels in different games. It's like there's not enough consistency with this Chelsea team. However, the one thing I would say is that the one consistent player that Chelsea do have is Thiago Silva. He was brilliant in this game. Probably Chelsea's best player for me. There was one point early on in the second half where I think Brennan Johnson is pretty much all but through on goal, and he's got a one knee to his left, or he can go by himself. And Thiago Silva does this brilliant piece of defending where he blocks off the run off a one knee, makes it a really difficult pass for Johnson, and also at the same time closes down Johnson. It's a brilliant diagonal run towards him, and does just enough to make him take his shot, or make him rush his shot anyway. And Kepa made the save. So yeah, brilliant piece of defending from Thiago Silva, who is just a step ahead of everyone else in here. To be honest, not in the head. It's just the years of experience and the football brain that he has. And yeah, without him today, I think it could have been worse for Chelsea. I think they might not have got anything out of this game if they didn't have his defensive nous at times, because I felt some of the other defenders, Koulibaly in particular, really weren't at it today. And the other thing that I thought Nottingham Forest did better than Chelsea was just they looked more hungry in midfield. The midfield three of Yates, Freuler and Mangala, I just thought got the better of Chelsea's midfield three of Zakaria, Jorginho and Mount for the majority of this game. Kovacic, when he came on, added a little bit more balance to Chelsea's midfield, coming back from quite a deep run in the World Cup with Croatia. But it's not looking good again for Chelsea. I thought they might have turned the leaf after the Bournemouth game on was it, I think it was the day after Boxing Day, wasn't it? But it's quite evident that without Reece James, there is something missing in their team, and I just don't know how they solve it. They need to try something different if they haven't got that option on the right. So that's really something for Graham Potter to have a think about. And the other thing that they've got that's not going for them is Kai Havertz is just too inconsistent. Like, he had a brilliant game against Bournemouth today. I thought average at best, if we're being honest. I think average would be quite nice to him, because he just didn't really get involved at many points in today's game. But yeah, Nottingham Forest second half, that they just came out the traps and were absolutely brilliant. That they just, after maybe a disappointing first half, but they contested in the first half. They just came out and they were far better than Chelsea for the first 20-25 minutes of the second half easily. They were unlucky not to score a screamer through Morgan Gibbs-White, Brennan Johnson, Taiwo Awoniyi. Taiwo Awoniyi, by the way, was absolutely superb in this game. Didn't give Azpilicueta or Koulibaly a moment's rest. He ran his socks off for the team. Gibbs-White was unlucky not to score a screamer. And yeah, the front three, or in general, just ran their socks off. And Gibbs-White as well was brilliant, picking the ball up in midfield and driving forwards with it. And I think you could maybe look at Jorginho a little bit and say there were times where he didn't do enough to deal with Gibbs-White. So yeah, there were holes in Chelsea's team often in today's game. But yeah, brilliant result for Forest and Chelsea. It's just another dent in their challenge for top four, which is looking increasingly unlikely, given that I think they're 8th in the table. Which, you know, is not where they'll want to be come the end of the season, given the amount of money they've spent in the summer as well. Like, off the top of my head, I'll work it out now. How much money must they spend? They've spent 60 odd on Cucurella, 75 I think on Fofana, so that's got to be 135 straight there. 20 on Aubameyang, 20 on Chukwuemeka. That's, you know, 175. And I'm sure I'm forgetting quite a few here. Sterling 50 million, Koulibaly 40 million. Jesus, yeah, we're well over 250 million on Chelsea spending. I think they also bought a couple of other players as well. So the amount of money they've spent, it's not enough to finish 8th. It's not enough to finish, how many places? I think it's 5 places lower than they did last season. So yeah, something's got to change for Chelsea, and very quick. But yeah, we'll get into some player ratings. So we'll start off with Forest, home team, and more impressive team in this game, in my opinion. Dean Henderson, I've given a 6. Whenever he was tested, most of the time, he dealt with the problem, found a solution, so I've given him a 6. And then the defence, Aurier, I've given a 6. Took his goal brilliantly. Didn't do a lot wrong in this game. And his goal, I think, was... I didn't even mention the equaliser when talking about Forest, but yeah, he took his goal really well. It was really composed, which is not something you really associate with Serge Aurier, composure. He's usually seen, and I can understand why, as this sort of rash, do now, think later, like fullback, and that's what he was. If you ask any Spurs fan, like that, there were so many times where he'd make a needless tackle where he just goes right through the back of a winger and gives away a penalty. I can remember multiple occasions of that happening at Spurs. One at Anfield when I was there, actually, in 2019. But yeah, I've given him a 6. The 2 defenders, Steve Worrell and not Steve Worrell. I keep saying that wrong. I've forgotten his name. Worrell. We'll go with Worrell. Worrell and Willy Bolly, I've given a 6. What is Worrell's first name? I keep forgetting. Oh, it'll come to me in a few minutes, I'm sure. I've given both of them a 6. I think volley, it was a little bit questionable, the Chelsea goal, but I don't think it was a horrendous error. It's just quite unfortunate. If that goes like, over the bar, people go, oh, we got a bit lucky there, and then they won't question it again. So yeah, I think, it wasn't the worst game ever. Renan Lodi, I've given a 7. I thought he got up and down the pitch, brilliantly. Helped Taiwo Awoniyi cause problems and outnumber Azpilicueta on the left at times. So he definitely had a good game. I think that's fair to say. And then the midfield, I've given Yates a 7, Mangala a 7, and Freuler a 6. I think there were a few times where Freuler maybe lost his head a little bit in that midfield, so that's the only reason I haven't given him a 7. But Yates and Mangala were superb, and a big part of the reason why Forest took control of the game in the second half especially. And the front three, I thought every single one of them was superb. Johnson was probably the best in the first half, had a good opportunity which he created for himself. Well, that's a bit harsh. Gibbs White did play a good ball over the top, but he did well to, get the opportunity and get the shot off because Cucurella was closing him down very quickly. So yeah, he did very, very well there. Is it Jack Worrell? No, is it? I can't. This is really going to annoy me. This, but yeah. Gibbs White I've also given a 7 as well as Johnson. Again, cracking game. Really unlucky not to score one of the goals of the month with that second half strike, which hit the bar and nearly went over the line. And then Taiwo Awoniyi, for me, he was the man of the match. Just constant running, constant problem causing. The only occasion I can think of where he sort of made a mistake was when there was a ball coming past him and he took a slight touch on it and sort of took the chance away from, I think it was Yates who was coming onto it and possibly should have done a little bit better. But yeah, Awoniyi was brilliant, I thought. Then we'll go on to Chelsea. Kepa in goal, I've given him a 6, made a couple of decent saves. Not a lot he could really do about the goal. It was very close range and it's quite hard to shut your legs when it's that close. Azpilicueta I've given a 6 because I thought, given the threat that Nottingham Forest were posing down the left, he didn't do too badly with it. So I'll give him a 6. Koulibaly, I thought, didn't have a great game. Probably the worst player on the pitch in this game. 5 I've given him. I just thought there were a couple of times where he maybe stepped up out of position, left the room in behind, or sometimes it was the other way around. He didn't close down his man quick enough when it was someone like Gibbs White. So yeah, I think he didn't have a poor game. Thiago Silva I've given a 7. I think he was probably Chelsea's best player. In fact, actually, definitely Chelsea's best player. Just minimised the Forest threat at times, especially in the first half. Cucurella 6, didn't perfect wrong. And then midfield, Zakaria and Mount I've given 6s. Again, Mount didn't really create enough, but I guess did his job, especially in the first half. And Zakaria, I think you could say the same. But Jorginho, though, I just thought sometimes the midfield sort of overran him and he couldn't really keep up with it at times. He's not, the quickest player and really struggled with dealing with Gibbs White in particular, I thought. And then the front three, Sterling and Havertz, I've given 6s. I think Havertz is quite lucky to get a 6, and Sterling, I think that's fair enough. He took his goal well and occasionally caused problems in the first half. And Pulisic I've also given a 6 as well because again he was quite quiet, but still helps Chelsea get up the pitch at times, especially in the first half. So yeah, it just overall wasn't a good enough performance from Chelsea really, and Forest were the better team in truth. But anyway, thanks for watching this video and I'll see you next time.